Hello, this is old Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and we are headed to my favorite flying park again. In the last video I went over there, and I didn't get to cover the whole area because I got sidetracked helping my friend Randy and getting some videos of his flying. So while we're headed there, I'll show you how the route that we're going to take. And I start from the right hand side, head to the left, and then instead just going to the park, as you can see here, the blue line is the Queen Creek wash and everything. We're going to end up flying along the edge of that wash. So we're going to go up here and go through a gate, and then we can get started. I didn't fly. I got my first drone in 2014. It was a Phantom and Phantom 1, and I flew it a bunch. In fact, I even made my own FPV setup for it because it didn't come with that. And so it was fun, but it was so much trouble to fly, and you could only get about 6 minutes of guaranteed flight out of the battery. So I didn't fly much between 2014 and 2016 when I moved down to Arizona. And that's when I bought my Bebop 2, and it was much easier to fly and much easier to maintain batteries and so forth. So I flew it a lot for a couple of years, and guess where I flew it? A lot. I flew it a lot at the park behind us, and also in this area of the Queen Creek wash. Now the wash is there so to avoid flooding. What happens is when the water comes down off the mountains, when the snow melts, it really comes rushing down, and so there's a spot upstream where they hold the water, and then this wash is also a place where they hold the water. And by the way, just as I was getting ready to fly, I heard some hang gliders, and there was two guys, and I was hoping that they would come down the wash, but they flew on. And so here we go. We're going to fly. And what we're going to do is we're going to fly down into that area that I was pointing to when we first got here. That's the entrance to the wash. And it's so much bigger than what it looks like from here. And so I made a whole lot of videos trying to explain or show how big it was. And actually I did get a good one with me standing down there in the entrance. The water comes down towards us as it comes into the wash, and then the wash fills up with water, and down at the far end it gets up to about 30 feet deep, and or has when I was watching it anyway. But it rushes through those rocks as it comes down, and it's dry all year long. In fact, it's a lot of times it's dry in the wintertime if we have a dry winter. But when there's a whole lot of snow in the mountains, then it starts to melt, and we get around February or so, we get a creek flowing, and of course then it's kind of fun to watch and fly down here and take videos of it. Now what looks like rocks, that's broken up concrete from when they have tried to make, you notice on the right there it looks like a road coming down, and then it just kind of drops off. And the same thing on the left, you can see that coming down. They've tried many times to put some kind of a culvert system in there so that people could go from one side to the other, and it keeps washing out. And the video, well, I'll put a link to it. The video that I made where I was standing down there, I'm just barely taller than that big rock that's got the writing on it, and all of those other rocks are huge. So anyway, I'll put a link to that. And this is looking at it from without the sun glaring. I'm sorry I have to take my videos in the morning because in the afternoon it gets 100 degrees or more, and usually more this time of year. And my drone batteries overheat if I try to go fly for anything more than about 5 minutes. So I get up early when it's still about 70 degrees outside. And you can see the water comes right down like we're coming, and goes through there and then all the way down. You look way down there, you see cars on the road down there. This thing just fills up with water. So anyway, while we're flying, I'll tell you a story. This is a story of when my friend who was a pilot and we took our daughters on a Saturday outing, flew down to Red's Horse Ranch. And I can't really find it on Google Earth. I found Red's Mountain Horse Ranch. And if it's the same one, there's no airstrip there anymore. And of course, I can understand why. And you'll understand when I get to the end of the story. So I don't know if they've removed the airstrip or if I just really didn't find the right spot. But there are roads going up to it now, and there weren't way back in the 70s and 80s when I was flying. So if you look up there on top of the ridge, that's me standing there flying the drone, and it kind of gives you an idea of the perspective of the size of this wash. And of course the bottom of it is filled with sand that's washed in from up above, from the stream up above. So when it was first made, of course, it was much deeper than it is now. And there's some, well, I won't go there, but there's some videos I've made that show what it was like and when they first put it in. So anyway, we flew down to this Red's Horse Ranch on a Saturday in the summertime and spent the day hiking around and just enjoying ourselves. And then as it got to be afternoon, by the way, these it looks like they was doing their four-wheelers up the side of this hill, and I looked up, flew over here, and that is just erosion is all it is. So anyway, we enjoyed ourselves, and then when it got time to go home, the sun was starting to go down, and it was a real hot day, and planes don't fly too well in hot weather. And so we got in, and I didn't notice when we landed that the airstrip had a little kink in it about halfway down. As you're taking off, you had to make this little right jog. And so I didn't notice it, and then when we got ready to take off, I'm giving it full throttle, and we're starting down the runway, and here comes this jog, and of course I couldn't keep it full power. I had to slow down a little bit, and then I finally got it up to full power again, and went around the jog, and I had 2 notches of flaps, and we weren't going anywhere. And then just before we got to the end of the airstrip, it began to lift off, and we ended up just skimming the tops of the trees along that valley, and we weren't going up. And I looked down the valley, and there was a sunshiny side, and there was a side in the shade. I immediately headed for the sunshine side because I knew there was warm air or warm, the air was rising there, and that would be much more help to get me to get some lift. So we just climbed up the side of the valley right next to the trees, and we finally got up to where I could put the flaps up, and we finally got out of there, and we never, ever went back again. And I'm wondering if somebody had problems because of that kink in the airstrip, because it could really be it could cause people to not get off the runway by the time they got to the end of the airstrip. I thought I would fly over here and check to see if my friend Randy had come out to fly, because in the last video I got some shots of him flying his airplane, his RC plane, but he didn't show up on that particular day. And so anyway, I want to thank you for watching my videos, and God bless.